Hi, everybody. This is the practice problems for 1A if you are in Algebra 2 or Accelerated. So we'll do the first problem or two. So for this one, I know that I'm evaluating with PEMDAS, which is my order of operations. So parentheses, then exponents, then multiplication and division together, and then addition and subtraction together. All right, so I'm going to start with within parentheses first. So I see some parentheses here, and then some over here. So in that first one, I have -2 times 2 to the third times 2. And then the whole thing is going to be divided by -4. These parentheses are already done because it's just a number in there. So I'm just, at the end, I'm going to divide by -4. I still need to work within the first set of parentheses here. So within parentheses, next I'm going to do exponents. So my exponents, I see an exponent here. So 2 to the third is 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 makes 4, times 2 makes 8. So 2 to the third is 8. And I still have times 2, times -2, and times 2. So multiplication and division goes left to right. So I'm going to do these two first. -2 times 8 is -16. Still bringing down that the +2. And then multiply these together and get -32. So that is within my parentheses, but now it's just a number there, so I don't need those parentheses anymore. And I have divided by -4. So -32 divided by -4, I could use a calculator, or I know that 4 times 8 is 32, so I know that this is 8. And a negative divided by a negative is a positive, so my answer would be 8. I'm going to go ahead and check my possible answers, and I see that it's right here, so I'm going to cross it out. On your computer, you could highlight it or do something like that. I can go ahead and do number 9 just to get us started here as well. So number 9 says -6 plus -3 minus 3 squared divided by absolute value of 3. So within parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Parentheses first, so I'm going to deal with inside of these parentheses first. -3 minus 3 would be -6. It's still squared, divided, and added. Okay, so within parentheses, there's only just a number there, so I'm done with parentheses. Exponents are next, so I'm going to do this portion here. So -6 squared is -6 times -6, +36. And I have these here. Absolute value is like a parenthesis. It's like another set of parentheses. Absolute value means turn the number positive or keep it positive. And in this case, we already have a positive number, so this is just the number 3. If there had been a negative in here, it's still the same thing would have happened. It would have been +3. Absolute value is technically how far is it from 0. So how far is the number 3 from 0? It would be 1, 2, 3. That's how far it is away from 0. So 3. So I have division. And then, okay, so I dealt with exponents. I have just numbers here, so multiplication and division come next. So I'm going to do this part. 36 divided by 3 would be 12, still plus that -6. And finally, adding and subtracting, this would be 12 minus 6, which would be +6. I'm going to check my answer key. I see that there is a +6, so I can cross that one off. Okay. You are going to go ahead and complete the rest of your problems and then take your retake. That is 1A. All right. Now we'll do the retake problems for 1B. This is for Algebra 2 and Accelerated. So 1B. So within simplifying, we're really just combining like terms. Right? Combining like terms. We might have to distribute, which means multiply. If we see those parentheses, we might have to distribute that in, like when we do this, and then we'll combine them. So if I'm looking at number 21, I see that there are parentheses with a number in front. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute that -6 in. So I'm going to bring down the -9. So -6 times -v would be +6v. And -6 times +5 would be -30. I know that something is like terms if it has the same variable. So here I see 6v. There are no other v's, so I'm just going to go ahead and write 6v. And then I know that they're like terms if they're just numbers by themselves. So -9 and -30 would be combined into -30. So -9 minus 30, -39. That is my final answer because there are no more like terms. I'm going to look in the answer key and I see 6v minus 39. Notice it's written in the opposite direction. That is okay. As long as the 6v is positive and the 39 is negative, doesn't matter what order they're in. So I know that that is the correct answer. Okay. If you're looking at one of these down here, like 27, where they have 2 sets of parentheses, you're just going to distribute in like this. Each of them is like that. Right, so you're going to end up with 4 things. You're going to do -2 times -6x would be positive 12x. -2 times -9 would be 18. -4 times positive x would be -4x. -4 times positive 9 would be -36. And then you would combine your like terms just like you did before with the numbers together and the variable terms together. Right, so you go ahead and combine them. You should find your answer over here. That is 1B. We're going to go ahead and look at number 2. So this is Algebra 2 and Accelerated, number 2. So for this one, we are solving equations, and that means we want to get x by itself. So x equals a number. In this case, we might see some distribution. I'll go ahead and do like number 15. I may see some distribution, and I'm going to need to combine like terms if they're on the same side. And if they're on different sides, I need to do the opposite in order to move them to the other side. So I'm going to start by distributing. So the first thing I'm going to do is, let's see here, so 2 times 8x, or 2 times 4x would be 8x. 2 times -3 would be -6. -8 is coming down, and I have 4 plus 2x here. I'm going to combine like terms if they're on the same side. What I mean by on the same side is they're on the same side of the equal sign. So I can see that -6 and -8, those are like terms because they're just numbers. So I have -14. So I have 8x minus 14 equals 4 plus 2x. From here, I want to get the x's on one side and the numbers on the other. I'm going to go ahead and move my 2 x's to the other side by subtracting, doing the opposite. 2x, that's going to give me 6x minus 14, bringing straight down, is equal to 4. I don't have much room, so I'm going to go ahead and write it right here. 6x minus 14 equals 4. Now I want to get the numbers on the other side. So I'm going to start by adding 14 on the side here. Gives me 6x like 0 equals 18. And then x is being multiplied times 6. So 6x means 6 times x. So I'm going to use the opposite of multiplication, which is division, to divide on both sides. I get x equals 3. Okay, so x equals 3 is my answer. I'm going to go ahead and check my answer key. And I see that there is indeed a 3. So I can cross that one out. So that would be how I would solve an equation like this. If I have just a negative in front, I would want to just distribute in the negative. So negative times t would be negative t. Negative times -8 would be positive 8. That equals 14. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 8 on both sides. So I get negative p equals positive 6. And I don't want the negative to be there. Remember, it's like an imaginary 1 whenever we see a negative. So it's like negative 1p. I'm going to go ahead and divide by negative 1 on both sides. And that's going to tell me that p is equal to 6 divided by negative 1, which is negative 6. Negative 6 would be my answer for 11. Let me go ahead and check my answer key. I see a negative 6, so I'm going to cross it out. That would be how I would go about working on number 2. Number 2. Go ahead and pause your video unless you're working on number 3. So number 3, we're solving inequalities. Very, very similar to solving equations. We just want to make sure that if we multiply or divide by a negative number, then we're going to switch the sign. That's what we really have to remember. And we're going to turn it from less than to greater than or vice versa. So we can do number 11 together. So I see this one I'm going to distribute first. So I have my distribution. -4 times -6 will make 24. -4 times 3a will make -12a is less than a minus 15. So I'd read this: a minus 15 is greater than 24 minus 12a. I'm going to go ahead and move my a's to the left side and the numbers to the right side. So I'm going to add 12a on both sides. That's going to leave this side as 0. And 1a plus 12a would be 13a. Minus 15 is greater than 24. I want to move that number 15 to the other side. So I'm going to add 15 on both sides. I get 13a is greater than 39. Ran out of room. So I'm going to write 13a is greater than 39. I'm going to divide by 13. I'm dividing by a positive number here, so I'm not going to switch the sign. A is greater than 3. A is greater than 3. Notice this does not have the equal sign, so this is going to be an open circle. It's going to be an open circle on 3, so I'm going to make that open circle here. And then A is greater than. So I want to account for the numbers that are bigger than 3, right? So the A is facing, I'm sorry, the inequality is larger towards the A. So the A is larger than 3. So I'm going to go to the side that has the numbers larger than 3, like that. If you're writing this in interval notation, you're starting at 3 and you're going to positive infinity. Like that. So I have 3 ways I can write my answer. I can write my answer like this with the inequality. I can write my answer with a graph like this. I can write my answer in interval notation like this. Go ahead and check out my answer key. We said A is greater than 3. Looks like all the answers are using X here, but I see greater than 3, so I know that that is the correct answer. For each of these, you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to solve it, graph it. That is number 3. For number 4, this is, or for 4A, this is just algebra 2, right? Just algebra 2. So if you're ACC, you're going to look for a different video. So for algebra 2, 4A, we're thinking about this function and whether it is a function or not. So first things first, it is a function if the x's do not repeat. Remember that it's a functional relationship. If your x is not repeating, like you don't want to have the same boyfriend again, right? If they were already like not so awesome, then you don't want them to be your boyfriend again. So you want to look at the x column and see if any of the numbers repeat. Right? It's okay if one's positive, one's negative. Those are different numbers. In this case, I see no x's are repeating. So yes, this is a function. The x's do not repeat. Okay. Remember, your domain is your x values, and you want to write them in least to greatest order. I'm going to find the smallest number, which is -5. Then the next smallest, -3. Then -1, 1, 3, 5. And I write those squiggly brackets. That's my domain. My range, we're going to do the exact same way. I want to find the smallest number of my y. The smallest number is -2. Write -2. I noticed -2 was written twice. I don't need to write it twice in my range, just one time. And then 8, also written twice. And then 11, and then 23. Just like that. So I have my domain and my range. For, let's see, for number 3, when I'm looking at my input, these are my x values or my domain, I would see that 4 goes with 7 and 4 goes with 14. So in this case, I would say, no, it's not a function because the x value 4 repeats. So we know that this is not a function. Okay. And that is number 4A. You're looking for 4B for algebra 2. This is you're in the right place. 4B. So for function notation, this is when we have something written like f of x, and they want us to find f of 3. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take all the x's, we're going to turn them into 3. So let's try number 4. Number 4 says that p of x is x squared plus 5, and we want to find p of 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 2's and we're going to put them in anywhere that we see x. So we're going to put it right here as well. Okay. So in this case, I would have x squared plus 5, but instead of x, I'm going to use parentheses. I'm going to put in a 2 instead, and square it, and add 5. So 2 squared would be 4 plus 5. 4 plus 5 is 9. The answer here would be 9. I'm going to check my answer key. I see there's a 9. And cross that one out. For number 5, we see that there are 2 variables, right? So n is turning into 1 because we want g of 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in 1 in both locations here. So when we write this down, we're going to write n squared minus 5n. We'll put parentheses squared minus 5 times parentheses. Notice instead of the n's, I'm putting the parentheses. And then what number is replacing n? The number 1. So I'm putting in a 1 in both of those places. So 1 squared would be 1. 1 squared would be 1, minus 5 times 1 would be 5. 1 minus 5 would be negative 4. That would be my answer. I'm going to go ahead and look for negative 4. I see that's right here. You can cross it out. This is how you would work with 4B. All right. Algebra 2, this is number 5, working on slope. So remember that slope is rise over run, which means that we're looking for our y's over our x's. So if I'm going to look at here, I have my slope formula, y2 minus y1 equals x2 minus x1. So I'll go ahead and work with number 7. I'm going to first things first, I'm going to label my points. x1, y1, x2, y2. So that just helps me to remember that I have my first point, x and y, and my second point, x and y. That will also help me to fill in the equation that I need. So first, y2. So y2 is 8. I'll put 8. The equation has a minus. And then y1. y1 has a negative 2. I'm going to put parentheses negative 2. It helps you remember that there are 2 negatives there. Okay. And then x2, which is 5, minus x1, which is also 5. So in this case, I would have 8 minus negative 2, which is like 8 plus 2, which is 10 on top. And then 5 minus 5. 5 minus 5 is 0. I can't divide by 0, right? So my answer would be undefined or no solution. Right? There would be no solution. I see undefined is right here in my answer sheet. Okay. That's how I do number 7. Let's do one that has like an actual, like a number answer. We'll do number 6. So again, I'm going to have x1, y1, x2, y2. So I have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 would be 0 minus y1 would be 4 over 2, negative 5, minus x 1, negative 3. So 0 minus 4, negative 4, over negative 5 minus negative 3, or minus 3, would be negative 8. I see that they're negative on top and bottom, so I know that that simplifies to a positive 4 over 8. And then 4 over 8 can be simplified. I can divide both of those by 4. So I'm going to divide by 4, and that would be 1 over 2, 1 half. 1 half would be my answer for number 6. I'm going to look and see if there's a 1 half. I see a 1 half right here. So this is how we would do number 5.